Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, taking another fun, entertaining video for you guys today, and what's probably going to be the best Nintendo ROM hack of at least the month of 2026 that we're in right now. That is because Act 2 of Mother Encore is out. If you didn't play Act 1, it includes that as well. And basically what this is an entire remake and reimagining of the original Mother game, but in more of a Super Nintendo 16-bit style with widescreen support and a ton of fun pivots from the classic Mother formula. And I'm just going to be showing you guys kind of the introductory sequence to this game, because even if you played Mother, this is going to pivot some things around, and I really don't want to include any spoilers in the video, because when I say this just feels like playing a lost Super Nintendo game from back in the day that never actually existed, I 100% mean it. The Mother Encore team here did incredible work with Act 1, which I did play but didn't make a video on, and now that Act 2 is out, I definitely want to be talking about it. And just so you know, the Encore team has 8 acts planned, so if you play this today, you're going to be getting through basically like 25% of the actual game because they're still making the rest of it. But trust me, it is well worth your time. This thing is absolutely spectacular, and it really does feel like a retail product in all the best ways, even if it is a fan game. And when you have a franchise as storied with history as Mother or Earthbound, you know full well you're going to have a fun time. And honestly, considering the Mother franchise didn't really get a very consistent release schedule outside of Japan, having something like this is going to be a 10 out of 10 win. And obviously, if you never played the NES original, it is available in English, but honestly for me, I love the 16-bit aesthetic of Mother Encore, so it's definitely going to be my preferred way to play. And that really is the biggest difference right off the top. Obviously, we're not dealing with NES or Famicom graphics here. We have a full Super Nintendo style 16-bit aesthetic. But do be aware this is just basically a Windows executable. It is not a Super Nintendo ROM, so it's nothing you're going to be playing on quote-unquote real hardware. But again, considering what Earthbound looks like, and it has such a charming art style and aesthetic, and then what Mother 3 looks like, this really does feel like the best combination of both Earthbound as well as Mother 3 on the Game Boy Advance. And because it is in widescreen, you get a bigger aspect ratio to see more of the art. And honestly, even though we're talking about Mother, a famous game, I would say the art in this quote-unquote remake that they're calling Encore is maybe my favorite part. It is so charming, it is so fun, and having to fight this pillow here with those 2 little pixels for eyes, every single character in this game is just absolutely lousy with charm and unique flair, and that's just something that's going to make you gravitate towards the game. But just think about how much work this must be to recreate the entirety of the original Mother in a brand new game engine as a brand new game. I'm sure that's why it's coming out in acts, because this is absolutely a metric crap ton of work. We're talking hundreds upon hundreds of hours, probably getting into the thousands of hours category at this point in time with how much work is on display here, all for you to play an amazing quote-unquote new version of a Nintendo classic. And again, like I said, I'm not really spoiling much whatsoever. I'm just showing you the introductory sequences to the game. But leave me a comment down below and you tell me, did you ever play the original Mother? Did you play Earthbound? Or did you play Mother 3 on the translation? Because obviously fans have provided so much Mother content that Nintendo never actually brought over to the West, and it's one of those things. I doubt we're ever going to see a Mother 4 from Nintendo anytime soon. Basically, I would extend it out to the heat death of the universe as Nintendo not offering us something like that. Because it's one of those franchises that had its time and place, but I'm sure now most people that are actually buying Nintendo games probably have never actually played one. But I remember playing Earthbound back in the day. I did own a copy in the big box, and I traded it into EB Games for probably like 10 bucks, a very stupid financial decision, even though you didn't know back then, and I still regret it to this day. But honestly, the entire franchise is just straight up a 10 out of 10, but sometimes people just absolutely hate it as well. It is a very particular game, it has a very particular sense of humor, and that is all coming across here in Mother Encore. And that's something, if you're going to remake a game, you absolutely need to preserve. The strange sense of humor and the otherworldly kind of charms of this game absolutely make the entire experience worth playing, and that is 100% brought over whole cloth here, preserved, and made just so much more fun. But let's do the first of 2 soundtrack samples, because of course Mother and Earthbound have always had incredible and very strange music, and obviously that needs to be translated here as well in Mother Encore for the vibes to come through. So go ahead and listen for 45 seconds, but come back, I'll show you a lot more Mother Encore and try to convince you to definitely play this one. I think, at least in my opinion, one of the unsung things about the Mother franchise is got to be the sound effects. Yes, the music is weird. Yes, the artwork is very unique, and the storyline absolutely batshit crazy in all the best ways possible. But there's something about the sound effects that really give this game the most charm of anything that I think ever graced a Nintendo or Super Nintendo system. They are just so weird and so cognitively dissonant for what you would expect a video game to have for sound effects. They just really burn themselves into your brain, and they really do kind of strike the tone of what you're doing when you see the visuals and play the actual storyline, because this is something that I absolutely love, the overall weirdness of the Mother franchise. And like I said earlier, I get if that's not for you, but for me, I love strange games and strange media, and this one definitely has that strange moniker down pat. Now, as we get into the game again, seeing all of these areas recreated in the 16-bit aesthetic is just so much fun, because I grew up basically when the NES was leaving the market and the Super Nintendo was becoming a console, and honestly, some of my first gaming memories are on 16-bit consoles. So for me, while I do play NES games and enjoy them, for something as long as Mother, I definitely want a more modern aesthetic, but that's just me personally. You can feel free to tell me how you feel down below, and I think a lot of people would maybe play the original game if it had a little bit more of a modern look. So that's what Encore is delivering here, and with this kind of isometric viewpoint of the town, it just always has such a very distinct flair, and that is something that this, and I keep calling it a ROM hack, obviously it is a recreation, but it is the common nomenclature, 100% excels at. And trust me, you can't walk up the down escalator. I tried, it would have been funny if it took like twice as long. All of the pixel art here, all of the sprites and backgrounds, the character animations, and everything else just absolutely scream Mother in all the best ways possible. And trust me, when you're trying to replicate an art style in a new project, it is not an easy thing to do, because so much of what makes a game and so much of what makes a vibe is down to the overall unique art, animation, music, sound effects, and everything else that comprise that game. Basically, the sum of all the parts have to add up to that Mother experience, and the Mother Encore team have definitely done that. And I love the zombie in a trench coat here, maybe trying to sell watches outside the movie theater. But you leave a comment down below and you tell me, so far, have you ever heard of Mother Encore before? And if not, having seen it now, do you plan on playing it? Because trust me, if you don't, you're 100% missing out. The only thing you have to lose on this one is time, because obviously it is a free offering. And as far as where to find this one is concerned, you're going to have to use Google on it. But I'm pretty sure if you look up Mother Encore, you're going to find it pretty easily. And it's definitely worth your time in finding, because I want to see the team 100% finish this Act 3 through 8, because I just want to be able to sit down and enjoy this from start to finish in maybe a couple years or so. But let's do one more soundtrack sample, because again, I can't stress enough just how much of the audio makes this experience. Obviously, it's got to be a good game with a fun story and great graphics to really compel you in, but it gets you in with that, and then it keeps you around with the audio. So go ahead and listen for 45 seconds, and I'll be right back with a little bit more information to convince you to play it. I mean, the thing about Mother Encore and the franchise in general, and something I talk about on the channel a lot, is it's a vibe. And what I mean when I say that is, it is just a game and a series that has something that no other game franchise out there has. And I'm not saying that every game franchise has to have it, but it does its own thing. It tells its own story. It has its own style, and it really just is unapologetically Mother. And that really is a fun thing, because in the modern era where so many modern game releases kind of feel copy and paste created by something else that was successful before it, having stuff like this really shows you that back in the day, developers were creative and they just decided, I have an idea for something, I'm gonna make it, and I hope that when I make it, people actually receive it well. That was just a fun era of game where people put creativity and telling a story they wanted to tell over the idea of trying to get a game marketed and hugely successful with a design by committee approach. When I talk about the vibes, air quotes, of a game, that's really what I mean. When it has a personality and it has a voice wholly uniquely its own, and you can tell the developers, artists, story writers, and everyone else involved really just fell in love with the idea and the concept and decided we're going to run with it. We hope people enjoy it when it's done. And as far as Mother Encore is concerned, I 10 out of 10 enjoyed this thing, and I definitely think you will too. But short of that, definitely check it out, give it a shot. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye.